So let's tell you about what happened today when President Muhammadu Buhari conferred the honor, the National Honor of GCFR on the President-elect Bola Tinubu and GCON on his running mate and the Vice President-elect Senator Kashim Shettima that held at a banquet hall of the Presidential Villa in Abuja in the State House. This is part of the transition program. Afterwards, the president handed over transition notes to the president-elect, signaling that official handing over of the state of affairs of the nation and the way things are on presently to the president-elect. And also afterwards was the handing over of the baton to the president-elect, Bola Tinubu. I'd like you to listen to what Bola Tinubu said after that ceremony.
You have done your part, Mr. President. Now, a great duty will descend on me. I understand the meaning of the honor given to me today and the magnitude of the task that awaits. Whether you go to Dara or Nigeria or anywhere, you expect knocks on your doors. We are determined, as enumerated, on security, economy, agriculture, jobs, education, health, and power, and in all sectors, we must make headway as you've charted the course. The people deserve no less. You said so. I shall not disappoint you.
That's the President-elect Bola Tinubu earlier today. Let's get a sense of what this means altogether and what lies ahead in the coming days. Monday, 29th of May, is the inauguration day that will signal whether or not what Nigerians need to expect from the incoming government. I'm being joined by the national woman leader of the APC and former health commissioner in Cross River State, Ms. Betta Edu. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Is there any kind of concern in the ranks of the APC based on the judgment of the Supreme Court from tomorrow, that will happen tomorrow?
None at all. I'm sure if you followed the whole judgment all the way from the lowest court up to the appeal and now at the Supreme Court, you understand clearly that it's a no case. And so APC, indeed, Nigerians are not in any way bothered about the judgment of tomorrow, because already we know that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on 29th of May would be sworn in as president. Of course, you know very well that the event for the inauguration has fully started. Just this evening, before I arrived at the studio, we saw all the air forces and their different jets taking their rehearsals today over the villa and all of the areas around the central area in Abuja. So all activities, everything is on top gear, and we're truly, truly not worried about tomorrow.
Those who are pushing that case and who went to court are asking for justice, and they've raised question marks on the candidature of your principal, Bola Tinubu, and his vice, Kashim Shettima, and they are hopeful, and you need to hear what they're saying in their own camp. They are very optimistic that there will be judgment that will favor them tomorrow at the Supreme Court.
Well,
does that not bother you in any way?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
What if it doesn't go in your way?
So it's very, very clear that it definitely will go in our way.
Do you know what the Supreme Judge is going to say tomorrow?
So I'm not trying to
It does look like you understand the script already.
I'm not no script at all. I'm not trying to preempt the Supreme Court judges, but of course there are several factors that come into play when Supreme Court is issuing a judgment, and one of them is the stability of the polity of a nation
against the justice.
So the justice clearly.
I'm just asking you that. I mean, you probably.
Of course, all of them are part of it.
Justice, stability,
stability, but everything is part of it. So it's a holistic judgment, right? Looking at the environment, the stability of the country, its politics, of course, justice, and every other thing in between. But the case, of course, if you know the substance of the case, you would clearly understand that these are just basically. I don't know what would be the best words to use if I would want to borrow an English line, say semantics, right? Where you're trying to pull up stuffs where nothing truly exists. So there's really no basis for that. But of course, like you know, just like we saw the judgment which was issued a few hours ago at the appeal court, actually fining someone 40 million for asking that inauguration should not hold. So you just find people who come up with these ideas and they believe somehow by whatever means they will get through with it. But of course, Nigeria is beyond all of those sentiments. Nigeria belongs to all of us and we must work together to build it.
Do you understand, especially in your party, the enormity of the job at hand? The nation is in dire strait. You realize so? So you are the woman leader.
Yes.
You hear what the women say, not of your party, but women of other stock who belong to Nigeria generally.
The first point we must understand is that Nigeria is a work in progress. If you listen to the speech of President Muhammadu Buhari today at the State Banquet Hall, he said very clearly, I fought a good fight. I've run my race. I definitely can do everything, but I have fought a good fight, and I'm handing over Nigeria into the hands of one who I believe will continue from where I start, and he will do better. He would, of course, improve on the places where I have lapses. For us as APC, as a party, we stand very strong to say, yes, President Muhammadu Buhari has had a lot of high points, right? But definitely there are here and there some low points, which the incoming government will improve upon.
Does the Bola Tinubu team, because I can refer to them as a government just yet, does him and his team realize what is ahead? Do they realize?
I think if you know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's a deep thinker, a thinker and a doer, one who is very, very strong in terms of strategizing, planning, analyzing. I can boldly tell you for free that the next 60 days have clearly been spelled out by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What he hopes to do, what he hopes to achieve, at what point and where. That's how precise he is. He understands fully the task that is ahead of him. Remember, he has been in power at different levels, but of course not at the federal level. And he is prepared, fully prepared. He wants to hit the ground running. He's prepared to walk in the interest of Nigeria.
Nigeria is a kettle of fish entirely. He was a governor of Lagos State. Lagos State is just one out of 36 states of the country. So when people make reference to Bola Tinubu being a former governor, being a governor is like being a class master of a class of 36 in a school. Is different from being a headmaster of an entire school. So he was a captain of a state. Now he's going to be the captain of the sheep of the Nigerian nation. So that burden is different. For example, today, the governor of Anambra State is written a passionate letter to President Buhari asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. These are one of the very technicalities that Bola Tinubu will have to face. To uniting the nation first, how is he going to politically do that? As those kind of conversations come up in your internal ranks?
Of course, a lot of that is going on. And if you can see his disposition since he became the president-elect, he's been reaching out to different sects, even those who feel marginalized, to say, how can we all come to the table? How can we make this work as Nigerians, having one front, one force, one focus, and one goal to develop this country? You can bear me witness that Lagos is not just any other state. Lagos has a population that is even bigger than most African countries. Of course, you know that. And if you're able to bring Lagos from where it was in 1999 to become an economic giant such that is the 5th economy in all of Africa, then he can be able to replicate same in Nigeria. But that being said, the Nigerian situation is way bigger. And of course, the problems are there. And indeed, the various little ups and downs are also there. And he is truly aware of this. He's been briefed. He's had several interactions with different key stakeholders from different areas of the country so far. And for him, it's just to hit the ground running and ensure he fixes it.
And I'd like to know, Ms. Edo, the party APC on one hand, those who are in government on another hand, because the party is the one that is pushing a candidate forward. And the question is, your party, which promised change in 2015, the question is, have they given that change? I mean, there are billboards of when the APC put out there that they will change the status of the naira. Naira will be at a parity of $1 to 1 naira. Do you know what the dollar is right now to the naira, madam?
Sure.
I do. How do you feel as a leader of the APC from a party that promised such miracle, and now we are nowhere?
So you can say we are nowhere.
Okay, so
right?
let me give you an understanding of where, if we are somewhere or not. If you say you are going to have a naira, a parity of 1 naira to $1, and in the parallel market is about 740 naira to $1, are we somewhere? When you met it at about 200 or less.
So when you came into Nigeria as or when you took over Nigeria as the party, the governing party in the country, right? And you met part of our territories, over 22 local governments in the hands of terrorists. And today, at your exit, you don't have any single part of our country under the rulership or ownership of any terrorist group. That's positive change. When he came in to government, of course, APC got into government in 2015. Every other day we had bombs going off everywhere. I cannot recall the last time I had a bomb going off anywhere in Nigeria. That's positive change.
Maybe because you live in Abuja.
Those
who live in some part of the interior of this country,
well, of course, we have you to report
region
for us.
And northwestern region, you live in some part of the northeast region, they'll be wondering whether Mr. Edu, just like I said to Mr. Femi Adesina yesterday, whether you live in the same Nigeria that they live in.
Well, at least we have you to report for us. So if you're not reporting it, that means it's not happening, isn't it?
We're reporting people being kidnapped. Just today, we had there were reports of 2 of the girls that were kidnapped in Yauri by the Dongangide faction of the bandits. Being released today. I mean, these are schools that bandits went in there and took away our children. That's the sad state of security in the country.
So,
that is the country that the APC is presently giving to Nigeria.
The truth is this, right? First and foremost, Nigeria today is not where it was in 2015. A lot has improved. Our infrastructure has improved. There was no second Niger bridge and several other roads. Of course, you give it to this government. They've done a lot on infrastructure. They've done a lot in terms of even the humanitarian affairs, reaching out to people, creating different social platforms to be able to alleviate Nigerians from poverty. A lot of laws have been passed into place to help form a system.
You're touching on something that is also very sensitive. When you take people out of poverty, it's under your government. That is now over 50% of Nigerians are poor. In fact, 153 million Nigerians are said to be in multidimensional poverty. And that's the situation. That was not the case when you took over government in 2015. I'm asking, madam, that's your party promised Nigeria Uhuru, but now I don't know what you think. Do you think that Nigerians are happy with your party today?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
What makes you think so?
Well, the ballots, of course, have stated very clearly
with less than
the
40% of
the
votes
feeling of Nigerians,
that you got on the ballot.
right?
Difference from what you got in 2019 and 2015.
Like I said,
there's a decline of the acceptance by votes to your party.
Of course, there were indicators that will show that there might be a decline, but our party still won the majority of votes in the last election, and that's what I'm stating. So I'll go through a couple of things to put it in its context, right? In the last 8 years, we've gone through a COVID pandemic that has left the entire world in an economic recession. I went to UK a couple of weeks ago, and I know how much a single item on the shelf in the supermarket sold. When I was living back there in 2013, 2014, when I went to school and the rest of it, right, I knew exactly how much the same item was selling on the shelf. So when you want to constitutionalize it, you need to ask yourself, are there things that happened in this whole span of 8 years that could have affected the economy, that could have affected the response which the government was expected to give to what was going on?
Can Nigerians trust Bola Tinubu?
I bet on anything. Nigerians would plead with an Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu 4 years down the line to run for a second term.
How would your party, because there are those who are of the Christian stock in this country, because Nigeria is a secular state and such that there must be some kind of sensitivity to issues of religion. There are those who felt offended by the Muslim ticket of your party going into the ballot of 2023, and now the talks of possibility of having a non-Christian, and those who are talking about those issues. Is your party aware of those fiber that hold our country together that are being gradually peeled off because of politics?
I would want to say this. First and foremost, the Nigerian ship should sail beyond the point of religious, cultural, ethnicity, and all of those level of politics. That's number one.
Easy?
We should
is
work
it easy
towards
to
competence.
say that for those who have been marginalized in terms of their ethnic stock and religious stock, when you have a Muslim president, a Muslim vice president, and there are those who are saying there will be a Muslim Senate president, a Muslim speaker,
so the party
and you're asking them that they should not put. How do you hope that they will not feel marginalized?
The party has come out to zone. And it has not just zoned in terms of zoning to regions. It has narrowed down on persons. So the number 3 person is going to be a Christian, is going to be from the South, another region. There is not number 1, it's not number 2. And they've zoned all the way down, giving Christians a seat at the table. I'm a Christian and I support the party. My party has produced the first priest as a governor in the history of Nigeria.
Madam, let's close this interview. So, I'd like you to say this maybe in 10, 15 seconds. Could you give Nigerians the confidence that the appellation of an Islamic party, that your party in some part of the country have been quoted with, you're telling Nigerians that Nigerians will not be seeing those kind of tendency should Bola Tinubu get into power?
Of course, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not a religious bigot. He is indeed one who would be for all Nigerians. If you look around him, the people who walk around him, his dear wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and several others, they are all Christians. Definitely, this is a government about the people. Politics is over. He's out here to serve. He's out to serve Nigeria. And indeed, religion, ethnicity, tribe will not becloud his feeling of what he's supposed to do for Nigeria. We can be rest assured. And even the areas that feel marginalized, at the end of this 4 years, you will boldly say, Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave me a seat at the table.
Dr. Betta Ayeju, National Women Leader of the APC, thank you so much indeed for coming out now.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.